The rain fell hard on Threshold 7, turning the red dirt into thick mud. Jinho pulled his jacket tighter and checked his medical scanner one more time. The colony had sent him to investigate strange signals near the perimeter fence. Nobody expected anything good out here in the wilderness. The storm made it hard to see more than a few meters ahead. Lightning flashed across the dark sky, and that's when Jinho saw her. A figure lay crumpled against a rock formation, not moving. His scanner beeped urgently. Life signs, but fading fast. Jinho ran forward, his boots splashing through puddles. As he got closer, his breath caught in his throat. The injured person wasn't human. Her skin had a pale blue tint, and her body was larger than his, more muscular. She wore torn armor that looked military. Vakreen, one of the warrior aliens that humans had been in conflict with for years. His training told him to call for backup. Protocol said to treat aliens as hostile until proven otherwise. But his medical oath said something different. This being was dying, and he was a healer. Jinho knelt beside her carefully. The Vakreen woman had deep cuts across her arms and torso, one leg bent at a wrong angle. Her breathing came in short, painful gasps. Blood, darker than human blood, pooled beneath her. He reached out slowly with his hand to check her pulse. The moment his fingers touched her neck, her eyes snapped open. They were bright yellow with vertical pupils like a cat's eyes. She tried to jerk away from him, but pain stopped her movement. A sound came from her throat, something between a growl and a whimper. "Easy," Jinho said softly. "I'm not going to hurt you. I'm a doctor, a healer. Do you understand?" The alien woman stared at him with those strange yellow eyes. Her chest heaved with rapid breaths. She was terrified, he realized. Not just in pain, but actually afraid of him. "I need to touch you to help," Jinho explained, keeping his voice calm and quiet. "I'll be as gentle as I can, okay?" He didn't know if she understood his words, but he hoped his tone would communicate his intentions. Slowly, carefully, he placed his hands on her wounded arm. She flinched hard, her whole body going rigid. She was waiting for pain, he could tell. Jinho began his examination with the lightest touch possible. His fingers moved across the wounds, assessing the damage. The alien woman watched him with confusion in her eyes. She had expected something else. Expected cruelty, maybe. Expected rough handling. The rain continued to pour down on them both. Jinho worked quickly but carefully. He pulled out his emergency medical kit and started applying pressure to the worst bleeding. The alien woman made a sound of surprise when he pressed the bandage down, but he used only enough force to stop the blood flow. "Nothing more, your leg is broken," Jinho said, though he wasn't sure she understood. "This is going to hurt, but I'll try to minimize the pain." He took out a small injector and showed it to her. "Medicine. For pain, okay?" The alien woman's eyes widened. She looked at the injector, then back at his face. After a long moment, she gave a tiny nod. Jinho pressed the injector against her shoulder and administered the painkiller. Within seconds, her breathing became less labored. Some of the tension left her body. Now came the hard part. Jinho needed to stabilize her broken leg before moving her. He worked carefully, his hands steady despite the rain and cold. He'd set broken bones before many times, but never on an alien. The anatomy was similar enough to human, though. The break was clean, at least, as he worked. He kept talking in that same soft voice. "You're going to be okay. I've got you. Just breathe." "That's good. You're doing great." The alien woman watched him the whole time. Her expression was difficult to read, but something in her eyes had changed. The fear was still there, but now there was something else too. Confusion, wonder, disbelief. When Jinho finished stabilizing her leg, he sat back and wiped rain from his face. "I need to get you to shelter. My medical station isn't far. Can you stay conscious for me?" She opened her mouth and spoke. Her voice was rough, deeper than a human woman's voice. The words came out broken and strange, but they were in human standard language. "Why, help, enemy?" Jinho looked into her yellow eyes. Rain dripped from his hair down his face. "Because you need help. That's enough reason for me." The alien woman stared at him like he had just said something impossible, like he had spoken in a language that shouldn't exist. "I'm going to lift you now," Jinho said. "It might hurt, even with the medicine." "I'm sorry." He positioned himself carefully and lifted her into his arms. She was heavy, much heavier than a human woman her size would be, denser muscle and bone structure probably. But Jinho was strong enough, and adrenaline helped. The alien woman's head fell against his chest. She was barely conscious now, the shock and blood loss catching up with her. Jinho started walking back toward the colony, moving as smoothly as he could to avoid jostling her injuries. Thunder rolled across the sky. The rain came down even harder. Jinho's arms burned with the effort of carrying her, but he didn't stop. Step by step he made his way through the mud and darkness. The alien woman's eyes opened briefly. She looked up at his face through the rain. Her lips moved, forming words he could barely hear over the storm. "Gentle," she whispered. "You are gentle." Then her eyes closed again. Jinho held her closer and walked faster. His medical station appeared ahead, a small prefab building with lights glowing in the windows. Safety. Warmth. A place where he could properly treat her injuries. He kicked the door open and carried her inside. The warm air hit them both immediately. Jinho's clothes dripped water all over the floor, but he didn't care. He went straight to his examination table and laid her down carefully, supporting her head as he lowered her. The alien woman was unconscious now, but her breathing was steady. Jinho looked at her properly for the first time under good light. She was young, he thought, maybe close to his own age. Her face, while different from human, had a certain beauty to it. High cheekbones, strong jaw. Those striking yellow eyes were closed now, but he could still picture them. Jinho grabbed his medical scanner and began a full diagnostic. He had a long night ahead of him. The storm raged outside, but inside his small station, a wounded alien woman lay on his table. She had asked why he helped an enemy. The answer was simple, really. She wasn't his enemy. She was his patient, and he would do everything in his power to save her life. That's what healers did. The night passed slowly. Jinho worked under the bright medical lights, his hands moving with practiced skill. The Vakreen woman, still unconscious, lay on his examination table. Her breathing had stabilized, which was a good sign. Jinho cleaned each wound carefully. The cuts were deep, made by something sharp. Claws, maybe, or bladed weapons. He used a medical laser to seal the worst ones. Working millimeter by millimeter, the laser made a soft humming sound as it encouraged the tissue to bond together. Her broken leg required more attention. Jinho positioned the bone fragments correctly using his scanner as a guide. Then he applied a regeneration sleeve that would speed the healing process. The technology was advanced, but it still required the body to do most of the work. She would need rest and time. As dawn light began to filter through the window, the Vakreen woman stirred. Her eyes opened slowly, those yellow pupils focusing on the ceiling, then moving to look at Jinho. He had pulled up a chair beside the table. He smiled at her gently. "Good morning. How do you feel?" She blinked several times. Her hand moved to her leg, feeling the regeneration sleeve. Then she touched her arm where the deepest cuts had been. The wounds were closed now, pink lines of new skin showing where the laser had worked. "You fixed," she said in her broken standard. The confusion in her voice was clear. "That's my job," Jinho replied. He stood up and poured water into a cup. "You need to drink. Slow sips." He helped her sit up, supporting her back with one hand. She was stiff and clearly in pain, but the worst was over. Jinho held the cup to her lips and she drank carefully. Her eyes never left his face. "Why?" she asked again when she finished the water. "Why fix enemy?" Jinho set the cup down and sat back in his chair. "Where I come from, we have something called the medical oath. It means I help anyone who needs it. Human, alien, friend, enemy. Doesn't matter. If someone is hurt, I help them." The Vakreen woman looked at him like he was speaking nonsense. "This, not how things work. Maybe not in your world," Jinho said, "but it's how things work in mine." She was quiet for a long moment, processing this. Then she spoke again, her voice stronger now. "My name, Lisa. Lysa," Jinho repeated, making sure he pronounced it correctly. "I'm Jinho." Jinho, she tried, struggling with the sounds. "Human name. Korean name," he corrected gently. "Humans have many cultures, many different names." This seemed to surprise her. Vakreen all same. One culture, one way. Jinho found that interesting. "Tell me about your people, Lisa, if you want to." Lisa looked down at her hands. They were larger than his, with thicker fingers. Her nails looked almost like claws. "Vakreen strong. We trained from small. Learn to fight. Learn to survive. Pain teaches. Suffering makes warrior." Jinho frowned. "What about kindness? Gentleness?" "Weak," Lisa said immediately, as if repeating a lesson learned long ago. "Kindness is weak. Gentle is weak. Only strong survive." "But you survived," Jinho pointed out. And I helped you with kindness and gentleness. Lisa's face showed confusion again. She opened her mouth, then closed it. She had no argument for that. Over the next 2 days, Jinho continued to care for Lisa. He changed her bandages twice a day, always warning her before he touched her. He brought her food and water. He explained everything he was doing and why. Each time he touched her, Lisa braced herself for pain that never came. Jinho's hands were always careful, always gentle. When he removed the regeneration sleeve to check her leg, his fingers probed the bone with the lightest pressure possible. "Does this hurt?" he would ask. "No," she would answer, sounding surprised every time. On the 3rd day, Lisa was strong enough to sit up on her own. Jinho brought her real food instead of nutrient packs. The meal was simple, rice and vegetables, but Lisa ate it like she hadn't seen real food in months. "Tell me what happened to you," Jinho said as she ate. "How did you get so hurt?" Lisa stopped eating. She stared at her bowl for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice was quiet. "I run away." "From what?" "From everything." Lisa set down her bowl. "From duty. From Commander. From life." Jinho waited, not pushing, letting her tell the story at her own pace. "In Vakreen culture, strong females pair with strong males," Lisa continued. "Make more warriors is duty. Is honor." She paused. "I say no. You refused?" "Yes, Commander angry." "Very angry. Say I weak. Say I broken. Say I shamed of Vakreen." Lisa's hands clenched into fists. He tried a force. "I fight, I run. His hunters chase me. I fight them too. Get hurt, fall, wait to die, but you didn't die," Jinho said softly. "I found you." Lisa looked at him with those yellow eyes. "Why you not scared of me?" "A warrior. I killed before. I could kill you." Jinho met her gaze steadily. "Could you? Right now, at this moment, could you kill me?" Lisa looked at him for a long moment. Then she looked away. "No," she whispered. "I could not. Why not?" "Because," Lisa struggled with the words, "because you kind to me. Because you gentle. Because—" She touched her arm where the wounds had been. "Your touch so gentle. This first time someone been so kind to me, human." The words hung in the air between them. Jinho saw tears forming in Lisa's eyes. He wasn't sure if Vakreen could cry, but apparently they could. "In all my life, nobody touched me gentle," Lisa said. "Touch is pain. Touch is fight. Touch is force. But you—" She looked at him again. "You touch to heal. Touch to help. I not understand this." Jinho moved his chair closer. "Lisa, listen to me. What your people taught you about kindness being weak, that's wrong. It takes more strength to be kind than to be cruel. It's easy to hurt someone. It's hard to heal them." Lisa shook her head. "In Vakreen world, this not true." "Maybe your world needs to change," Jinho said gently. Lisa looked shocked. "You say my whole culture wrong?" "I'm saying that any culture that punishes kindness and rewards cruelty needs to change." "Yes." Lisa sat back, her mind clearly working through this radical idea. Everything she had ever been taught was being challenged by this strange human who fixed her wounds with gentle hands. "You are strange human," she finally said. Jinho smiled. "I've been called worse." For the first time, Lisa's mouth curved into something that might have been a smile. It looked unpracticed, like she didn't smile often. But it was there. The moment was interrupted by a sharp knock on the door. Jinho stood up quickly. "Stay here. Stay quiet." He went to the door and opened it slightly. A woman in colony administration uniform stood outside. Her name was Hana, and she looked annoyed. "Jinho, we need to talk," Hana said. "About your unauthorized patient." Jinho's heart sank. Someone had found out about Lisa. This was going to be a problem. Hana pushed past Jinho into the medical station. Her eyes went straight to Lisa, who sat frozen on the examination table. The administrator's face went from annoyed to shocked to angry in the space of seconds. "Are you insane?" Hana hissed at Jinho. "That's a Vakreen warrior. In our colony. Without authorization. Without security. Without anything." Jinho closed the door quickly and stood between Hana and Lisa. She was dying. "I helped her. That's what doctors do." "That's what stupid people do," Hana shot back. "Do you know what could happen if the military finds out? If her people find out, this could start an incident. A war, even." Lisa spoke up from behind Jinho. Her standard was getting better. "I not want war. I not want anyone hurt. I just want to live." Hana looked at Lisa, really looked at her for the first time. The alien woman sat on the table, her leg still wrapped in the regeneration sleeve, her body covered in the pink lines of healing wounds. She looked tired, scared, young. "You're a deserter," Hana said, understanding dawning. "You ran from your own people." "Yes," Lisa admitted, "I run. They chase, they hurt. Humans save." Hana turned back to Jinho. "Do you understand what you've done? By saving her, you've made yourself part of this. If the Vakreen want her back, they'll come here. They'll demand we hand her over. And if we don't, there will be consequences." "Then we'll face those consequences," Jinho said firmly. "I'm not handing over a patient who came to me for help. She didn't come to you. You found her? Same thing. She's under my medical protection. Colonial law is clear about patient rights." Hana laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "You're going to quote colonial law at me? Fine, I'll quote military regulations at you. Unauthorized contact with hostile alien forces. Harboring a potential enemy combatant. Failure to report a security threat. Want me to go on?" Jinho crossed his arms. "She's not a threat. She's hurt. She's scared. She's running from people who wanted to force her into something she didn't want. That's not our problem." "It is now," Jinho said quietly, "because I made it our problem. And I don't regret it." Hana stared at him for a long moment. Then she sighed and rubbed her face with both hands. "You're going to lose your medical license over this. Maybe worse. Maybe," Jinho agreed. "But I'll still have my soul." From the table, Lisa made a sound. Both humans looked at her. She was staring at Jinho with those yellow eyes, and there was something in them that looked like awe. "You risk everything," Lisa said slowly. "For me, why?" "Because it's right," Jinho said simply. Hana threw up her hands. Fine. You want to throw away your career for an alien? That's your choice. But I have to report this." "You know I do." "I know," Jinho said. "Do what you have to do." "I'll do what I have to do." Hana walked to the door, then paused. "For what it's worth, what you did was brave. Stupid, but brave." She looked at Lisa. "You, alien. Don't make me regret not calling security right now." Lisa nodded slowly. "I not make problem. I promise." After Hana left, Jinho sat down heavily in his chair. Lisa watched him carefully. "You in trouble because of me," she said. "I'm in trouble because I made a choice." Jinho corrected. "My choice. Not your fault." "In Vakreen culture, you would be punished," Lisa said. "Punished hard. For helping enemy. For going against authority." "Well, good thing this isn't Vakreen culture," Jinho replied. Lisa was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, "Tell me about humans." "About your culture? I want to understand." So Jinho told her. He talked about how Earth had many different cultures, many different ways of thinking. He explained about democracy and freedom of choice. He talked about art and music and stories. He explained about families that loved each other, about friends who helped each other. Lisa listened to all of it with complete focus. Sometimes she asked questions. Sometimes she just looked confused. But she was trying to understand. "Humans have word for this?" she asked at one point. "This thing you do? Help people who not your people?" "Compassion," Jinho said. "Or empathy. Or kindness. We have lots of words for it." "Vakreen have no words for this," Lisa said quietly. "We have words for strength. For victory. For dominance. But not for," she struggled. "Not for gentle helping." "Maybe you need new words," Jinho suggested. Over the next few hours, they talked more. Lisa told Jinho about Vakreen society. She described how children were raised in group facilities, trained from young age to be warriors. She explained how physical contact was always about dominance or combat, how showing emotion was seen as weak, how refusing orders could mean death. "When I small," Lisa said, "I fall during training. Break arm, instructor not help, say pain teaches, say get up or be left behind." She touched her arm, remembering. "I get up. Arm heal wrong, hurt for long time. But I learn. Pain teaches." Jinho felt anger rising in his chest. "That's not teaching. That's cruelty." "Is Vakreen way," Lisa said. But her voice was uncertain now. "Does it have to be?" Jinho asked. Lisa didn't answer. Later, when Jinho changed her bandages, he moved slowly and carefully as always. Lisa watched his hands. She saw how he made sure not to cause unnecessary pain, how he checked her reactions, how he asked if she was okay. "When you touch me," Lisa said suddenly, "I feel strange." Jinho paused. "Strange how? Does it hurt?" "No, opposite of hurt. Feel safe? She said the word like she wasn't sure it was right. Feel like protected, cared for. These feelings new to me. Jinho resumed wrapping the bandage. Those are good feelings, Lisa. Everyone should feel safe and cared for. Not in Vakreen world. In Vakreen world, you are safe only if you strong. You are cared for never. You survive alone or die. That sounds lonely, Jinho said softly. Lisa looked at him, and her eyes were bright with unshed tears again. Is very lonely. All life is lonely. Until now. Until you. Jinho finished with the bandage and sat back. You don't have to be lonely anymore. You're safe here, with me. Until they come, Lisa said. Until who comes? My people. They will come. They always come. They not let deserter escape. Is about honor, about showing others what happens when you run. Lisa's voice dropped to a whisper. They will kill me, and maybe kill you too for helping. Jinho reached out slowly and placed his hand over hers. It was the first time he'd touched her without a medical reason. Lisa stiffened, then relaxed. His hand was warm and gentle on hers. Then we'll face that together, Jinho said. You're not alone anymore. Lisa looked down at their hands. Hers was bigger, stronger, built for fighting. His was smaller, built for healing. Yet somehow his seemed more powerful in that moment. I not understand humans, Lisa said, but I want to. I want to learn this gentleness, this kindness, this... She struggled again for words. This strength that not about hurting. Then I'll teach you, Jinho promised. If you want to learn, I want, Lisa said firmly. I want very much. Outside storm clouds were gathering again. But inside the small medical station, something new was growing. Understanding. Trust. The beginning of something that neither human nor Vakreen had words for yet. But they would find the words. Together. 3 more days passed. Lisa's wounds healed quickly thanks to the regeneration treatments. She could walk now, though she still limped. Jinho taught her how to exercise the injured leg gently, building back strength without causing more damage. But both of them knew time was running out. It happened on the 4th morning. Jinho was making breakfast when his communication device buzzed urgently. He picked it up and his blood ran cold. A Vakreen military ship had entered orbit around Threshold 7. Lisa saw his face and knew immediately. They hear, she said. It wasn't a question. Yes, Lisa stood up, her whole body tense. They will demand I return. Your government will give me. Is easier than fight. Jinho set down the communication device. We don't know that yet. I know, Lisa said. I know my people. I know your people. Nobody wants war over one deserter. She looked at him and her yellow eyes were sad. You should give me to them. Save yourself. Save your colony. No. Jinho, no, he said again, louder this time. I'm not giving up on you. We'll find another way. Before Lisa could respond, there was a knock at the door. This time it wasn't Hana. It was colony security, 3 officers with serious faces and weapons on their belts. Dr. Jinho, the lead officer said, we need you and your patient to come with us. The administrator wants to see you both. Now. They were escorted through the colony to the main administration building. People stared as they walked past. News had spread fast. Everyone knew about the Vakreen deserter and the doctor who saved her. In the administrator's office, Hana sat behind a desk looking exhausted. Next to her stood a tall man in military uniform. And on the large view screen on the wall, a Vakreen officer looked down at them. He was massive even by Vakreen standards, with scars across his face and arms. Lisa made a sound when she saw him. Fear and hatred mixed together. Commander Vex, she said. The Vakreen on the screen smiled, but it was not a kind smile. Lisa, you have caused much trouble. I sorry for nothing, Lisa said, her standard failing under stress. I not go back. You will go back, Commander Vex said, or this colony will suffer consequences. Already we have detained human trade ships. Already we have closed space routes. This will continue until you return, Hana spoke up. We don't respond well to threats, Commander. And we do not accept deserters living free, Vex replied. This female is property of Vakreen military. She has duties. She will fulfill them. I not property, Lisa shouted. I person. I have choice. Vex laughed. Choice. You are female. You are warrior. You have duty to breed strong offspring. You have duty to commander. You refuse duty, you face punishment. Is law is way. Jinho stepped forward. Maybe your law is wrong. Maybe your way needs to change. Vex focused on Jinho for the first time. The human healer. The soft one who saves enemies. You understand nothing of strength. Nothing of discipline. You are weak and you make her weak. I'm not weak, Jinho said calmly. And neither is she. She's stronger than you because she chose kindness over cruelty. She chose freedom over forced servitude. That takes real courage. And courage? Vex spat the word. She runs like coward. She abandons post. She refuses duty to her commander. He leaned closer to the screen. She refuses me. Understanding dawned on Jinho. You're the one she was supposed to be paired with. She is mine by right, Vex said. Strongest female, strongest male. Is proper, is natural. She will return and accept her place, or I will take this colony apart piece by piece. Hana stood up. That's enough. Commander Vex, we cannot simply hand over a refugee who has requested asylum. Our laws protect individuals from forced servitude and forced reproduction. These are fundamental human rights. Human rights, Vex said mockingly. Not Vakrine rights. She is Vakrine. She follows Vakrine law. She's in human territory now, the military officer said. That makes her subject to our laws. Then we have problem, Vex said. Problem that will be solved with force if necessary. The screen went dark. The room was silent for a moment. Then Lisa broke down. She collapsed to her knees, her whole body shaking. Sounds came from her throat, harsh and broken. She was crying, really crying, in a way that suggested she'd never cried before in her life. Jinho immediately knelt beside her. Lisa, I cannot go back, she said through the tears. I cannot.
He will hurt me.
He will break me. He will make me into breeding tool. I rather die, Jinho. Jinho put his arms around her carefully. Lisa flinched for just a second, then collapsed against him. She was bigger and stronger than him, but in that moment she felt small and fragile. You're not going back, Jinho said firmly. And you're not dying. I promise. You cannot promise, Lisa said. You see him. You see what he is. He will not stop. He will destroy everything to get me back. To prove point. To show other females what happens when they refuse. Jinho held her tighter. He looked up at Hana and the military officer. There has to be a way. Some way to protect her. Hana sat down heavily. There might be. But it's risky. Very risky. Tell me. There's an underground network, Hana said quietly. People who help refugees, political dissidents, anyone fleeing persecution. They move people through secret routes to neutral territories. If we could get Lisa to them, where? Jinho asked. There's a contact here in the colony. Her name is Minji. She runs a supply depot on the surface, but she's part of the network. Hana looked at Lisa. There are other Vakrine like you, ones who left. Ones who refuse the old ways. They have a small community in neutral space. You could go there. Be safe there. Lisa lifted her head from Jinho's shoulder. Other Vakrine like me? Ones who chose freedom over duty, Hana confirmed. Not many, but enough. They call themselves the Broken Ones, though personally I think that's a terrible name. They're not broken. They're brave. Hope flickered in Lisa's eyes. I could be with my own kind, but different. Kind that choose kindness? Maybe, Hana said. But getting you there won't be easy. Vex will be watching. He'll have ships scanning for any vessels leaving the colony, and if he catches you... She didn't finish the sentence. Lisa stood up slowly. Jinho stood with her, keeping one hand on her arm for support. I will risk, Lisa said. Better try and die than go back. She looked at Jinho. Your touch is so gentle. This is first time someone been so kind to me, human. You show me different way. I want to live that way. I want to learn more. I want to be... She struggled for the word. Free. Jinho squeezed her arm gently. Then we get you free. Whatever it takes. The military officer spoke up. I can give you 12 hours before I have to officially respond to Vex's demands. After that, I have to follow protocol. Use that time wisely, Hana nodded. I'll contact Minji, get things ready. She looked at Jinho. You're really going to do this? Help her escape? If you're caught, you'll face serious charges. I know, Jinho said. I don't care. Lisa looked at him, her yellow eyes bright with emotion.
Why you do this?
Why risk everything for me? Jinho met her gaze steadily. Because someone needs to stand up for what's right. Because you deserve to choose your own life, because... He paused. Because you matter, Lisa. You're not property. You're not a tool. You're a person who deserves kindness and safety and freedom, and I'll fight for that. Lysa reached out and took his hand in hers. Her grip was strong but careful, mindful not to hurt him. I never have friend before. Never have anyone care if I live or die. But you care. You care about me. Yes, Jinho said simply. I do. Then I fight too, Lysa said. I fight for freedom. Fight for choice. Fight for this new way you show me. Outside, the Vakrine ship orbited like a predator circling its prey, but inside, two unlikely allies prepared to fight for something bigger than either of them, for the right to choose kindness. For the right to be free. The battle wasn't over. It was just beginning. Minji's supply depot sat on the edge of the colony, a series of warehouses that handled cargo shipments. She was a short woman with sharp eyes and quick movements. When Hana brought Jinho and Lysa to meet her, she barely blinked at seeing a Vakrine warrior. I've moved 3 others like you, Minji said to Lysa without preamble. 2 males, 1 female, all deserters, all running from forced situations. You're not the first and you won't be the last. Where are they now? Lysa asked. Safe. That's all you need to know until you're safe too. Minji pulled up a holographic map. The problem is getting you off this rock. Vex has orbital control. He's scanning every ship that tries to leave. We can't use normal channels, then what do we use? Jinho asked. Tunnels, Minji said. Old mining tunnels from before the colony expanded. They run under the perimeter for kilometers. There's an old transport hub at the end. Abandoned, but still functional. We get you there. We have a small ship that can make a quick jump to hyperspace before Vex can intercept. Sounds too easy, Jinho said. It's not, Minji replied. The tunnels are unstable in places. And Vex isn't stupid. He'll have sent ground forces by now. Trackers, hunters, looking for your friend here. Lysa's hands clenched into fists. I know Vakrine hunters, they good. Very good. Then we'll have to be better, Minji said. She looked at Jinho. You're going with her, I assume. Of course. Good, she'll need someone she trusts. Minji tapped the map. We leave in 2 hours. That gives us darkness and shift change at the security posts. Best window we'll get. The next 2 hours felt both too long and too short. Jinho packed medical supplies while Lysa practiced walking without her limp. She needed to be able to move fast. Hana came to say goodbye. I've reported that you both escaped custody, she told them. It buys you time, but not much. Vex is already sending a landing party. Thank you, Jinho said. For everything. Hana smiled sadly. Don't thank me yet. Thank me when you're safe. She looked at Lysa. You better take care of him, alien. He's risking everything for you. I know, Lysa said. I protect. I promise. When darkness fell, Minji led them through the quiet colony streets to the warehouse district. They moved in shadows, avoiding security patrols. Lysa moved with natural stealth, and Jinho tried his best to match her silence. The tunnel entrance was hidden behind old cargo containers. Minji moved them aside to reveal a metal hatch set into the ground. She pulled it open, revealing a ladder leading down into darkness. From here, you follow the main tunnel for 3 kilometers, Minji said. Take every left turn. At the 4th left, you'll see a red marker on the wall. That's the transport hub. The ship is inside, already fueled and ready. Pilot's name is Deho. Tell him Minji sent you. You not coming? Lysa asked. I need to close up behind you. Make it look like nobody came through here. Minji handed Jinho a small light device. Go fast as you can. And good luck. Jinho went down the ladder first, then Lysa. The tunnel was cold and smelled of old rock and metal. Water dripped somewhere in the darkness. Jinho activated the light and they started walking. The tunnel seemed to go on forever. Their footsteps echoed off the stone walls. Lysa kept looking behind them, her whole body tense. You think they follow? She asked quietly. Maybe, Jinho admitted. But we have a head start. They walked faster. The tunnel branched several times and they took the left turns as instructed. The air got colder as they went deeper. Jinho's breath came out in small clouds. Then Lysa stopped suddenly. She held up one hand, signaling silence. Her head tilted, listening. Jinho froze. He strained his ears and heard it too, footsteps behind them. Multiple sets. Moving fast, hunters, Lysa whispered. They found tunnel. How far behind? Not far enough. Lysa grabbed Jinho's hand. We run now. They ran through the tunnel, the light bouncing wildly. Jinho's lungs burned. The footsteps behind them grew louder. Closer. There. Lisa pointed ahead. A red marker glowed on the wall. The fourth left turn. They sprinted around the corner and found themselves in a wider space. Old equipment and abandoned vehicles filled the area. And there in the center was a small ship. Its engines were already humming. A man appeared from the ship's entrance. "Are you Minji's people?" "Get in, quick!" That was Daeho. They ran for the ship. Behind them, voices shouted in the Vakreen language. Harsh, angry, hunting calls. Jinho and Lisa reached the ship's ramp just as 3 Vakreen warriors appeared at the tunnel entrance. They were huge, armed with weapons that crackled with energy. "Go!" Jinho shouted to Daeho. But one warrior raised his weapon and fired. The energy bolt hit the ground near Lisa's feet, exploding rock and debris. She stumbled, crying out. Jinho caught her, but another bolt hit the ship's hull. Alarms started blaring. "Get inside!" Daeho yelled from the cockpit. The warriors charged forward. Lisa pushed Jinho toward the ramp. "Go! Not without you!" Lisa turned to face the warriors. Her whole body changed, becoming what she was trained to be. A fighter. She roared a challenge in her own language and met the first warrior's charge. The fight was brutal and fast. Lisa moved with skill born from years of training. She dodged a blade strike and caught the warrior's arm, twisting hard. He went down. But the second warrior was on her immediately, bigger and stronger. Jinho couldn't just watch. He grabbed a metal pipe from the ground and swung it at the third warrior who was trying to circle around. The pipe connected with the warrior's head with a loud clang. The warrior staggered, surprised that the small human had fought back. Lisa threw the second warrior off her and grabbed Jinho. "Run!" They scrambled up the ramp together. The warriors recovered and charged after them. Daeho hit a button and the ramp started closing. One warrior got a hand on the edge, trying to pull himself up. Lisa stomped on his fingers with her good leg. The warrior howled and fell back. The ramp sealed shut. "Engines to maximum," Daeho shouted. "Hold on to something." The ship lurched forward, rising off the ground. Through the small window, Jinho saw the warriors raising their weapons to fire again, but the ship was already moving too fast, shooting up through the tunnel exit and into the night sky. Alarms filled the cockpit. "Orbital scan detected," Daeho announced. "Vex's ship is locking weapons on us." "Can we jump to hyperspace?" Jinho asked. "Not yet. Need 30 seconds for the hyperdrive to charge." Outside the window, space was visible now, and above them the massive Vakreen warship turned to face them. Its weapons glowed with building energy. 20 seconds, Daeho counted. "Come on, come on." A warning alarm shrieked. "Missile launch detected." Lisa grabbed Jinho and held him close. They both watched the warship through the window. The missile streaked toward them, closing impossibly fast. 10 seconds. The missile got closer. Jinho could see every detail of it now. 5 seconds. Closer. Jump. Reality twisted. The stars stretched into lines. The missile vanished. Everything went white, then black, then white again. Then they were somewhere else. Different stars outside the window. No warship. No missile. Safe. Jinho let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. Lisa still held him tightly, her heart pounding against his back. "We made it," Jinho said, his voice shaking. "We actually made it." Lisa released him slowly. She looked at her hands. They were shaking. "I thought we'd die. I thought for sure we'd die. But we didn't," Jinho said. He turned to face her and smiled. "We're free, Lisa. You're free." Lisa stared at him. Then slowly that unpracticed smile appeared on her face again. This time it was bigger, genuine. The smile of someone who had just escaped a cage. "Free," she repeated, testing the word. "I free," Daeho called back from the cockpit. "Setting course for Haven Station. That's where the others are. ETA 4 hours. You two should rest." That was too close. But neither Jinho nor Lisa wanted to rest yet. They sat together in the small passenger area, still processing what had just happened. "You fought for me," Lisa said. "You not warrior. You healer, but you fought." "Sometimes healers have to fight too," Jinho replied, "when something is worth protecting." Lisa touched his arm gently, careful with her strength. "Thank you. For everything. For saving my life. For teaching me gentle. For showing me different way." She paused. "For being first friend." Jinho covered her hand with his. "You don't have to thank me. Friends help each other. That's what we do." "Friends," Lisa said softly, trying out this new word. "Yes, we are friends." Through the window, unfamiliar stars shone bright. They were heading toward a future neither of them could have imagined a week ago. But they were heading there together, and that made all the difference. The hours passed quietly on the small ship. Jinho dozed in his seat while Lisa stared out the window at the stars. She couldn't sleep. Too much had happened. Too much had changed. When the ship's communication system suddenly beeped, everyone jumped. Daeho checked the display and his face went pale. "We're being hailed? Military frequency. Vex?" Lisa asked, her voice tight. "Checking." "Yes, it's his ship. How did he track us through hyperspace?" Jinho stood up and moved to the cockpit. "Can we ignore it?" "We can try," Daeho said. "But if he has our signature, he can follow us to Haven Station. We'd be leading him right to the refugee community." Lisa closed her eyes. "He wants to talk to me, I know it. He always wants last word. Always wants to prove he right." She stood up. "Open channel. Lisa, you don't have to—" Jinho started. "Yes, I do." Lisa moved to stand in front of the communication screen. "Open." The screen flickered to life. Commander Vex appeared, his scarred face twisted with rage. "You dare run from me," he said, his voice like gravel. "You dare choose this soft human over your duty? Over me?" "I choose myself," Lisa replied in Vakrine, then switched to standard so Jinho could understand. "I choose freedom. I choose life without fear. Without pain. Without you?" Vex laughed, bitter and harsh. "You think you can hide? I will find you. I will hunt you across the galaxy if necessary. You are mine, Lisa. Mine by right of strength." "I not property," Lisa said. "I not tool, I person. I have value beyond making warriors for you." "You have value as strong female," Vex said. "Best female. Should produce best offspring. This is natural order. This is Vakrine way." "Maybe Vakrine way is wrong," Lisa said. The silence that followed was heavy. Vex stared at her like she had just spoken blasphemy. "You are broken," he finally said. "Corrupted by soft human ideas. You forget what you are. What we are. Vakrine are strong because we embrace hardship. Because we reject weakness. This human has poisoned your mind with his gentleness." Jinho stepped forward into view of the screen. "Or maybe I've shown her what real strength looks like. Strength isn't about dominating others, Commander. It's about choosing compassion even when violence is easier." Vex focused on Jinho with pure hatred. "You small human. Weak healer. You steal what is mine. You corrupt my chosen mate. You will pay for this." "She was never yours," Jinho said firmly. "She's her own person. And she chose to leave you. That's not corruption. That's liberation. You know nothing of Vakrine culture. Nothing of our ways." "I know enough," Jinho replied. "I know that a culture built on forcing people into roles they don't want is a culture that needs to change. I know that strength without kindness is just cruelty. And I know that Lisa deserves better than what you were offering." Vex's hands clenched into fists. "You dare lecture me about my own people? You dare suggest we are wrong?" "Yes," Jinho said simply. "I do." For a moment, Vex looked genuinely shocked. No one had ever spoken to him that way. Especially not a human. Especially not a soft healer. Then something changed in the background of Vex's ship. Another Vakrine appeared behind him, then another. They were listening to the conversation, watching. One of them was young, female, with the same warrior build as Lisa. She stared at the screen with intense focus. Vex noticed his crew watching and snarled, "Return to your posts." But they didn't move. Not immediately. The young female spoke up. "Commander, is what the human says true? About choice? About choosing your own path?" "Silence," Vex roared. "This is not debate." But the seed was planted. Jinho could see it in the eyes of the Vakrine crew. Questions, doubts, possibilities they'd never considered before. Lisa saw it too. She spoke directly to the young female, switching to Vakrine. The words were melodic and harsh at the same time. Jinho didn't understand the language, but he understood the tone. Lisa was telling her story. About running. About being saved. About learning gentleness. About choosing freedom. The young female listened with wide eyes. Other crew members moved closer to hear. Vex tried to cut the communication, but someone on his own ship kept it open. A small act of rebellion, but significant. Lisa continued speaking. Her voice grew stronger with each word. She stood taller. This was different from the frightened female Jinho had found in the rain. This was a warrior who had found something worth fighting for. When she finished, the silence on Vex's ship was complete. Every crew member stared at her, some with hostility, some with confusion, some with something that looked like hope. The young female stepped forward, closer to the screen. "You really free now? You really chose?" "Yes," Lisa said. "I chose, and I never been happier, never been safer,
Never been me, real me.
not just warrior, not just tool, but person." The young female's hands trembled. "I want to choose too." "No," Vex shouted. He grabbed the female's arm roughly and pulled her back. "You all forget yourselves. This is corruption. This is weakness spreading like disease." But his crew was looking at him differently now. The absolute authority he'd always held was cracking. The female pulled her arm free from his grip. It wasn't a violent motion, but it was definite, final. "I am not yours to command in this, Commander. You are my military superior, but you are not my master." Other voices joined hers, male and female, all young, all questioning. Vex looked around at his own crew with something like panic in his eyes. His world was falling apart. The absolute obedience he'd relied on was crumbling. "If you continue this," Vex said to Lysa, his voice dangerous, "I will destroy Haven Station. I will hunt down every deserter, every weak one who ran. I will make examples of them all." "Then you prove everything I say about you," Lysa said calmly. "You prove you only have power through fear, through violence, through forcing others. This not real strength, Vex. This is fear pretending to be strength." Vex raised his hand as if to strike the screen, but he couldn't. He could only stand there, watching his authority erode. "I will find you," he said, his voice low and full of promise. "One day I will find you, and you will answer for this betrayal." "I not betrayed anyone," Lysa said. "I freed myself. And if you want to waste your life hunting me, that your choice. But I made my choice. I choose kind human over cruel commander. I choose freedom over chains. I choose life over survival." She reached out and cut the communication. The screen went dark. The ship was silent. Daeho stared at her with awe. Jinho smiled. "That was amazing," Jinho said. "You were amazing." Lisa turned to him and there were tears on her face again. But these were different tears. Not from fear or pain. From release. From pride. "I never speak like that before," she said. "Never stand up. Never say truth out loud. But you taught me. You showed me it possible." She walked to Jinho and, without hesitation this time, hugged him. It was careful, mindful of her strength, but it was genuine. Real. A hug that said more than words could. Jinho hugged her back. "You did that yourself. I just showed you it was possible. You had the courage to actually do it." From the cockpit, Daeho cleared his throat. Guys, we have a problem." They pulled apart. "What kind of problem?" "3 ships just dropped out of hyperspace near us. Small fighters. They're not military. They're..." Daeho checked his scanner. "They're Vakreen civilian ships. And they're hailing us." Lisa and Jinho exchanged glances. Jinho nodded. "Open the channel." The screen lit up again. But this time it wasn't Vex. It was the young female from his crew, sitting in a fighter's cockpit with 2 other young Vakreen visible in their own ships behind her. "Lysa," the young female said. "My name is Kira. We left. Right after you cut communication, we took fighters and left. 8 of us total. We want..." She paused, gathering courage. "We want to choose too. Can you help us? Can you show us the way to Haven Station?" Lysa's hand went to her mouth. Her eyes went wide. "Yes," she said, her voice breaking. "Yes, we show you way. We all go together." Behind Kira, other faces appeared on the screen. Young Vakreen, male and female, all looking scared but determined. All making the same choice Lysa had made. And on a distant warship, Commander Vex watched his crew abandon him. Watched everything he'd built on fear and control fall apart. The revolution had begun. And it had started with one gentle touch from a human healer. Haven Station floated in neutral space, far from any government control. It wasn't impressive to look at. Just an old mining station that had been abandoned and then reclaimed by refugees. But to Lisa and the others flying toward it, it looked like paradise. "There are really other Vakreen here?" Kira asked over the communication channel. "Ones who chose to leave?" "Yes," Lisa confirmed. "We will meet them soon. They will help us. Teach us." The small convoy of ships approached the station slowly. Docking lights flickered on, guiding them to landing bays. Jinho sat beside Lisa, watching her face. She looked nervous and excited at the same time. You okay? He asked quietly. I not know, Lisa admitted. All my life I told there is only one way to be Vakreen. Now I meet others who chose different way. What if I not fit? What if I still too broken? Jinho took her hand gently. You're not broken. You never were. You're just finally becoming who you were always meant to be. The ship settled into the docking bay with a soft thump. Through the window, Jinho could see figures waiting on the landing platform. Some were human. Some were other species he didn't recognize, and some were Vakreen. The Vakreen on the platform looked different from military ones. They wore civilian clothes instead of armor. Their faces were relaxed, not hard and aggressive. When they saw Lisa's ship and the fighters behind it, they started moving forward with clear excitement. Daeho opened the ship's door. Cool station air rushed in, carrying the smell of recycled oxygen and metal. Lisa stood slowly, her legs shaking slightly. Come on, Jinho said, offering his hand. Let's meet your new family. They walked down the ramp together. The moment Lisa's feet touched the platform, one of the Vakreen came forward. She was older, with gray streaks in her hair and kind eyes. Welcome, sister, the older Vakreen said in their own language, then switched to standard. I am Nara. I left Vakreen military 12 years ago. I help run this community now. She looked at the fighters landing behind them. And you brought more. This is wonderful. Kira and the others emerged from their ships, looking around with wide eyes. They clustered together, uncertain. Nara approached them with open arms. You are safe here. All of you. No one will force you. No one will hurt you. This is place of choice, of freedom, of learning new ways. One by one, the young Vakreen relaxed. Some started crying. Others just stood there, breathing deeply, processing their new reality. Jinho watched as the community welcomed the newcomers. Humans and aliens worked together, bringing supplies and offering help. No one seemed surprised or afraid of the Vakreen. They were just people helping people. A human woman approached Jinho. She was middle-aged with gray hair pulled back in a practical bun. You must be the healer who saved Lisa. I'm Dr. Yuna. I run the medical center here. Jinho, he said, shaking her hand. You have a medical center? Small one, but growing. We get refugees from dozens of species, all with different medical needs. Could always use another doctor if you're interested in staying. Jinho looked at Lisa. She was talking with Nara and the other Vakreen, her face more animated than he'd ever seen it. She was home in a way she'd never been before. I think I might be, Jinho said, at least for a while. Over the next few weeks, Jinho helped establish proper medical protocols for the Vakreen refugees. Their biology was similar enough to human that most treatments worked, but there were differences. Important ones. He taught them about gentle healing, about asking permission before touching, about pain management and patient comfort, concepts that were revolutionary to Vakreen used to military medicine, where pain was considered part of treatment. Lisa became his assistant. She was eager to learn, asking questions constantly. She wanted to understand not just how to heal, but why gentleness mattered. When I was small, she told him one day as they organized medical supplies, I thought strong meant not feeling pain. Now I learned strong means feeling pain but choosing to heal it, not just endure it. Exactly, Jinho said. There's no shame in hurting. The shame is in refusing to help those who hurt. Lisa was quiet for a moment, then spoke. In Vakreen, we have no word for kindness. I think now I understand why. Because we were afraid of it. Afraid that if we were kind, we would be weak. But I see now. Kindness is hardest thing. Requires most courage. She picked up a bandage and examined it thoughtfully. I want to help make new word. In Vakreen language. Word for kindness. Word for gentle. Word for all these things you teach me. That would be beautiful, Jinho said. Later that day, Jinho found Lisa in one of the station's observation decks. She stood at the window looking out at the stars. He joined her, standing close enough that their shoulders almost touched. Do you miss Threshold 7? Lisa asked. Sometimes, Jinho admitted. But I made the right choice. This is where I'm needed. Because of me? Because of all of you. Because this community is building something important. Something that could change things across the galaxy. Lisa turned to look at him. You change things. You change me. I was warrior who knew only pain and duty. Now I am... She paused, searching for words. Now I am a person who knows gentleness and choice, who knows what it feels like to be cared for. You were always that person, Jinho said. You just needed someone to show you it was okay to be that person. Lisa reached out and took his hand. The gesture was easy now, natural. She'd learned that touch didn't have to hurt, that it could comfort, connect, heal. Your touch is so gentle, she said, echoing the words she'd spoken weeks ago in the rain. This was first time someone been so kind to me human. Now I try to be kind too, to others, to myself. You're doing great, Jinho assured her. Look what you've started. 8 more Vakreen chose freedom because of you, because you were brave enough to choose first. We were brave together, Lisa corrected. You gave me courage, showed me it was possible. They stood together in comfortable silence, watching the stars. In the medical center behind them, Dr. Yuna was teaching Kira and the others basic first aid. In the common areas, Vakreen and humans shared meals and stories. In the workshops, refugees from a dozen species worked together to expand the station, making room for more. The news was spreading across the galaxy. More Vakreen were questioning the old ways. More were seeking places like Haven Station. Some governments were starting to talk about refugee rights and forced servitude laws. It was slow. It was difficult. But it was change, and it had started with one choice. One act of compassion in the rain. What will you do now? Jinho asked Lisa. You're healing well. You could do anything, Lisa smiled. It was a real smile now, practiced and genuine. I want to learn healing. Want to be like you. Want to teach other Vakreen that touch can heal, not just hurt. Want to show them gentle is not weak. You'd make an excellent healer, Jinho said. You teach me? I'd be honored. Lisa squeezed his hand gently. Thank you. For everything. For saving my life. For teaching me new way. For being my friend. My first friend. Thank you, Jinho replied, for trusting me. For being brave enough to accept kindness. For showing me that one person really can make a difference. They turned back to the window. More ships were arriving at the station. More refugees seeking safety and choice. The work would never be done. There would always be more people who needed help. More who needed to learn that gentleness was strength, that kindness was courage, but that was okay. Because they would face it together. In the medical center, Lisa began her training the next day. Jinho watched her carefully clean a wound on a young Vakreen male who just arrived. She worked slowly, gently, her large hands surprisingly delicate. The young male flinched at first, expecting pain. But Lisa spoke softly to him in Vakreen, explaining what she was doing, teaching him that he was safe. When she finished, the young male looked at his bandaged arm with wonder. It doesn't hurt, he said in broken standard. No, Lisa replied. It doesn't have to hurt, not here. Not anymore. She looked over at Jinho and smiled. He smiled back, proud of how far she'd come. From a wounded warrior in the rain to a healer who could teach others about compassion. Dr. Yuna came to stand beside Jinho. She's going to be good at this. Really good. I know, Jinho said. You're both changing lives here, Dr. Yuna continued. Not just through medicine, through showing there's another way to live, to be strong. That's all anyone can do, Jinho said. Show others what's possible. The rest is up to them. As the day ended, the community gathered for a shared meal. It was something they did weekly, all species together sharing food and conversation. Jinho sat with Lisa, Kira, Nara, and several other Vakreen. They talked about their day, their progress, their hopes. Kira spoke up, her standard improving every day. I contacted my sister, back on homeworld, told her about this place, about choosing. She wants to come too. She's scared, but she wants to choose. Then we help her, Nara said firmly. We help all who want to choose. Around the table, heads nodded in agreement. This was their purpose now. Not just surviving, but thriving. Not just escaping, but building something new. Lisa stood up, holding a cup. She looked nervous, but determined. I want to say something. In Vakreen, we toast to victory in battle, to dominance over enemies, but I learned new thing from humans. From Jinho. She looked at him. We toast to friends, to kindness, to choosing gentleness.